Well, I remember when I danced at the altar. I didn't care if it cost me a friend or two. I remember getting baptized in cold water, but rising with the fire in my soul. Same power now and forever. No, you're not through. Same words can speak to the mountain.
What's going on, everyone? Today we are being joined by Dr. Boyce Watkins. We are very happy for him to join us on our platform. Dr. Watkins, thank you for joining us and welcome to the program.
Absolutely, brother. It's my pleasure to be here, and I love the advice show. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. Thank you.
Well, we wanted to, since you are a financial guru within our community, and we need to pick your brain on some things today in the area of finance. So most people see the title. We have a $1 trillion buying power, but in the black community, we don't benefit from it at all. Why is that?
Because black people are very good at giving their money away. We love supporting our masters, former masters. It's a habit, it's a tradition that we've had for hundreds of years. And to put it more simply, people don't understand the power of money. We have not been trained to understand what money really is. Money is actually capital. Capital is something that is supposed to be used to help you make more money. Meaning, for example, if I take my money and I buy a building and some trucks in a factory, I'm not buying it so I can just live in the factory. I'm buying it so I can use the factory to make money, right? Or even if I buy a cow, I buy the cow so I can get the milk and sell the milk. Well, that's what money is. Money's supposed to be a form of capital that helps you make more money over the long term. It's not supposed to be a form of consumption. Consumption is when you get the money and you say, okay, now I can make even more trips to the mall. The worst examples I can think of, man, are cases of like athletes who've never been trained on financial literacy, who will literally earn $100 million over, say, a 10-12 year period, and will just engage in extravagant amounts of spending that just don't make any sense. And what they don't understand is that when you have that kind of capital on that level, like somebody gives you $100 million, you can turn that into a billion in a generation by putting it in the right place. So just reframing how we think about money can be huge in terms of changing the game for us a generation or two from now.
Now, let me ask you, it's something that I've said, many times before. Black people are the most vain people I know because we will spend our last on the most expensive stuff and we can't afford it. Why is it that we as black people have to have the best car, the best clothes, the best hair, the best shoes? But yeah, when you go in a person's house, like say some of these single guys, they got all these nice clothes, but then they're sitting on a soapbox inside of their apartment, but they look good. Why is that we have our priorities so screwed up financially?
Because some of us grow up believing deeply in instant gratification and doing things that make you feel good. Like you think about a brother who's got 10 kids and 8 babies mamas. This is clearly not a person who has engaged in long-term thinking or critical thinking. What have they been doing? They've been basically doing what feels good. You got some people that think about money as a quick hit. It's like a drug. It's like I got this money now. I can go get this outfit that's gonna make me feel better about myself. I can get this car that's gonna make me feel like I'm somebody. I can go drop this money at the club, which is gonna make me feel like I'm a successful, important person. And a lot of that really is built on not just the instant gratification component, but also low self-esteem. Black people, we don't love ourselves. We don't love our lives. When your life is miserable and you feel stressed out all the time and you don't feel good about yourself, well, money can kind of be like a temporary way to kind of boost that up a little bit, just like smoking a hit of crack. Think about it. People that get high on drugs, a lot of times they do it to escape their problems. So spending money, having the nicest this and the nicest that might be a way to kind of cover up and mask the fact that you're not happy with your life, you're not happy with yourself, and then once again, just not even understanding the power of that money goes a long way in causing that to happen. Last piece I'll throw in there too is just hopelessness. Hopelessness. if you feel that your destiny is to be broke, like you say, hey, I ain't never had nothing, I ain't never gonna have nothing. All I got is this job making $12 an hour. That's all I got. What happens is hopelessness causes you to not plan for the future because you're just thinking, I'm trying to get through today, and if I got a little extra surplus, I'm gonna spend money today on something that's gonna make me feel good right now. And so if you think about it, and it's funny because I actually show just mathematically that if you invest $25 a week, which most people can afford, most people waste 25 a week easy.
Hmm.
You invest $25 a week and you do that over 30 years, you'll have I want to say 150 to $200,000 if you invest that in the stock market, which is enough money for your children to have quite a bit of wealth coming into this world. But when you're hopeless and you kind of feel like, okay, I'm poor, I'm always be poor, it ain't gonna change, then what do? Are you going to really take that little bit of extra money you got and invest it for something that you don't even think is really gonna happen? Or do you take that money, blow it right now, and just say, I don't care?
A, C, E, D, B, K. No, this isn't some random out of order alphabet. These are vitamins. And just like letters build words, they're the building blocks that keep the body running. Vitamins are organic compounds we need to ingest in small amounts to keep functioning. They're the body's builders, defenders, and maintenance workers, helping it to build muscle and bone, make use of nutrients, capture and use energy, and heal wounds. If you need convincing about vitamin value, just consider the plight of olden days sailors who had no access to vitamin-rich fresh produce. They got scurvy, but vitamin C, abundant in fruits and vegetables, was the simple antidote to this disease. While bacteria, fungi, and plants produce their own vitamins, our bodies can't, so we have to get them from other sources. So how does the body get vitamins from out there into here? That's dependent on the form these compounds take. Vitamins come in two types, lipid-soluble and water-soluble, and the difference between them determines how the body transports and stores vitamins and gets rid of the excess. The water-solubles are vitamin C and B complex vitamins that are made up of 8 different types that each do something unique. These are dissolved in the watery parts of fruits, vegetables, and grains, meaning their passage through the body is relatively straightforward. Once inside the system, these foods are digested, and the vitamins within them are taken up directly by the bloodstream. Because blood plasma is water-based, water-soluble vitamins C and B have their transport cut out for them and can move around freely within the body. For lipid-soluble vitamins, dissolved in fat and found in foods like dairy, butter, and oils, this trip into the blood is a little more adventurous. These vitamins make it through the stomach and the intestine, where an acidic substance called bile flows in from the liver, breaking up the fat and preparing it for absorption through the intestinal wall. Because fat-soluble vitamins can't make use of the blood's watery nature, they need something else to move them around. And that comes from proteins that attach to the vitamins and act like couriers, transporting fat solubles into the blood and around the body. So this difference between water or fat-soluble vitamins determines how they get into the blood, but also how they're stored or ejected from the body. The system's ability to circulate water-soluble vitamins in the bloodstream so easily means that most of them can be passed out equally easily via the kidneys. Because of that, most water-soluble vitamins need to be replenished on a daily basis through the food we eat. But fat-soluble vitamins have staying power because they can be packed into the liver and in fat cells. The body treats these parts like a pantry, storing the vitamins there and rationing them out when needed, meaning we shouldn't overload on this type of vitamin because the body is generally well stocked. Once we've figured the logistics of transport and storage, the vitamins are left to do the work they came here to do in the first place. Some, like many of the B-complex vitamins, make up coenzymes, whose job it is to help enzymes release the energy from food. Other B vitamins then help the body to use that energy. From vitamin C, you get the ability to fight infection and make collagen, a kind of tissue that forms bones and teeth and heals wounds. Vitamin A helps make white blood cells, key in the body's defense, helps shape bones, and improves vision by keeping the cells of the eye in check. Vitamin D gathers calcium and phosphorus so we can make bones. and vitamin E works as an antioxidant, getting rid of elements in the body that can damage cells. Finally, from vitamin K, we score the ability to clot blood, since it helps make the proteins that do this job. Without this vitamin variety, humans face deficiencies that cause a range of problems, like fatigue, nerve damage, heart disorders, or diseases like rickets and scurvy. On the other hand, too much of any vitamin can cause toxicity in the body. So there goes the myth that loading yourself with supplements is a great idea. In reality, it's all about getting the balance right and hitting that vitamin jackpot.
I'm here! I'm here! Don't leave me! I'll stop going down! Oh, God. Oh, Jesus! Oh, my God! I need more time, God! Oh, God! It can't be too late!
My responsibility was project leader or the senior project engineer. We began to work on the design of a microchip that, when it was completed, was 0.75 millimeters in diameter, 7 millimeters long. It was the size of 1/4 of a grain of rice. Again, I want to say that I was not a Christian and there were no Christians there. They said they wanted this to have a power source and be able to emit a signal. And they told us they wanted us to use lithium as a battery source. Lithium's used in watch batteries, it's used in heart pacemaker batteries, it's used in a lot of places. I designed into this microchip a little charging circuit that would charge that battery. This sounds like a lot of technical things coming together, but if you'll bear with me 1 minute, you'll see what God has laid out about this microchip. When we discovered that we needed to be able to charge that battery, I needed a temperature change, a change in temperature to cause current to flow through that little charging circuit that would charge the battery. So we began to investigate and find out where in the body does the temperature change the most rapidly. We spent over $1 million in taxpayer money, and when the results came back, there was a lot of information. We divided it up amongst 3 teams, and then came back together with that information. It was determined that there were 2 places in the body that were ideal for the microchip. One was just below the hairline on the forehead. Every mother checks their child's temperature right here. So we could have paid the mothers $1 million and saved. I never saw a mother check their child's temperature on their ankle. Always right here. The other place was the hand, the right hand preferred, because most people are right-handed. This didn't bother me, and it didn't bother anybody else on the team. The hand seemed a good place. Nobody wanted it here. And so the design work, everything was completed. The microchip was done. You're seeing it now on some of the Discovery Channel presentations. There are people who have received it already. It is real. It's not something that's coming way down the road. They gave me a Bible. They told me not to read the book of Revelation. They said the book of Revelation is too hard to understand. So I waited, and I didn't read the book of Revelation for quite some time. Then one day I came to Revelation 13, verse 16. And he caused us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. I didn't like what I saw. I went back and looked up the word mark. I went to the Strong's Concordance, and I found that John had used 3 words for the word mark. Charagma, charicature, and charax. That was from the Greek. I looked at those words. They talked about a scratch or an etching. They talked about a lot of things. And I said, God, this isn't it. We didn't do it. He said, go to the word for 666. The word is chixastigma. In the Greek, it says to go to 4742 as a cross, the last half of the word Chixistigma. And when I looked at what it says stizo, i.e. to stick, to prick, a mark incised or punched into for recognition of ownership. I thought about the little injection tool. The end of it is called an incisor. I began to weep and I began to cry, and I said, "Oh God, what have we done?" I couldn't believe that this lined up with what we had developed. And I began to run from God. I didn't run away from the church, I ran into the church. I tried to do as many things as I could to atone for this. But I want to tell you something, as God is my witness here tonight, this got in the way. Money got in the way. I had beautiful homes overlooking the lake. I had all the things that I wanted. And I ran because of the money. My ability to go and get $250,000 in research money took me away from telling the message. I ran for many years. What I want to tell you is that this is real. The microchip implant is real. Credit cards are failing. They can be counterfeited. The new smart card can be counterfeited. They can be stolen. They can be lost. All kinds of things can happen to a card. But you cannot lose your hand. Very quickly they're going to move to this being in the hand. And I tell you, as a Christian, you cannot take this. No matter what anybody says, God's word says you cannot take it. No matter what they try to talk you into, God's word says don't take it. In Revelation 14, verse 9, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." It's very simple. God's word says do not take it. Today there have been over 15,000 babies that have been given the positive identification, the microchip. Many companies are using the microchip as identification in their top-level employees. The Immigration Naturalization Service has a better passport, the human hand. So many of these things are all around us. We talk about the signs of the New World Order. God has spelled out in His Word just exactly what's going on today in the New World Order. Satan desires to have a one-world government. From the time he fell, he said, "I want a one-world government." He wants to replace God. And so we see a government put together by men, a one-world government. The signs of the times are all around us.